What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Day One Perspective podcast. Today we're going over the Team YO Ranch event. We just got done with that a weekend ago. Jared competed with Zach Rodman, and then Jake and I got to be ROs of the two-gun stage or the action shooting stage, which was super fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. So Jared's going to start us off. He's going to walk through the event from start to finish, and Jake and I will definitely go over the two-gun stage and just make some notes about the event as we go. Jared, you good to start us off here?
Yeah. So this is round 2 because the first one disappeared. First podcast disappeared.
It's my fault.
So I'm not saying whose fault it is, but it's not my fault, and it's not Jenay's fault.
That's a fact. It's my fault.
We're learning over here.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're all right.
Hey, at least our audio was really good last time. We got comments about audio from the first one. All right, so the first stage was the Erg Stage, which now that we're 2 weeks away from it, I can't really remember. I think it was my favorite stage.
Yeah, that was the 370 rifle on paper with the rower.
Yeah. So Erg Stage, the way it was laid out, this is going to kind of, if you read the stage brief, it's going to sound different than this, but if you're used to looking at like programming and stuff, this is going to make sense. So it was 4 rounds of bike, rifle, then row, pistol. So you're going to the firing line a total of 8 times, right? It was 8 rifle. 8 rifle every time, and then 8 pistol every time. So the thing that you're sitting here balancing is, what is my, would you call it a threshold for how much work can I do and still hit a target at 370 yards?
Right.
And the target size was 18 inches tall and 12 inches wide. We had a wind that was coming in at like quartering wind into us, a little less than quartering, and it was like the low side was 8, the high side was like it would gust to 15, but like the high side was about 12, so we had an 8 to 12. So Zach and I used a 10-mile-an-hour quartering wind, so I'm not going to go into that, but it's linear. You can do research on that. So 10-mile-an-hour quartering wind, a little less than quartering wind, which put us like 6 inches left to center. So it was a 12-inch wide target. We're aiming like left side, and I was putting like a little bit of gap. So my dot at the middle is a 2 mil dot on my scope. So I was showing a little bit of air. And the reason why I did that is because like where we gathered the wind data was kind of covered by trees, and like we're shooting over a valley, so you're going to have probably more wind out there. And I kind of figured that the way that the line was cut through the trees was redirecting wind a little bit, so I assumed there was a little bit more than a quartering wind. So I just gave it a little Kentucky windage over the deal.
Were people hitting on that?
Me and Zach got 55 of 64. And then I think the average was somewhere in mid-20s, somewhere like that.
Wow. How much was each shot worth? Like if you hit on paper, was it 1 point, 2 points, 3 points?
The rifle was worth more. The pistol was 1 point. I want to say the rifle was 2 points.
Did you shoot more rounds out of pistol? Or did you
No,
say
it was 8 and 8. The round count was the same for both.
So rifle were high value and people were not hitting it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Single hand or two hand?
I think you guys shot freestyle on that one. If
It was
I remember
freestyle.
from the video.
It was freestyle.
Freestyle on that
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
Which one was harder, going bike rifle or row?
Row pistol. Yeah.
Just
'cause
grip and
the bike messes up your legs, and you can, like your arms, you still have like dexterity in your fingers and stuff. And then the row, just from gripping the rower and pulling it, your hands were kind of messed up a little bit. So about a third of the way through the workout, I kind of figured out the flow is that you want to go harder on the bike and then take it a little bit easier on. You wanted to get more calories on the bike, and then lay off the rower just a little bit so that you were in a good condition to shoot pistol there. So that was the stage layout. Zach and I won that one by quite a bit. For those that don't know Zach, if you could build a human to put out power at an optimal size and strength, it's Zach. So I think the judge said that we averaged 27 calories on the machines. Jeez. So like the way the flow of the workout went was I got on the bike and had 60 seconds on the bike. Then I went to the rifle and I had 60 seconds on the rifle. As soon as I got off the bike, Zach got onto the bike. And then when I was done with the rifle, I got on the rower, and then Zach went to the rifle. Then when I was done with the rower, I went to the pistol. So Zach, it's called waterfall. Like Zach was following what I was doing the whole time.
Right.
If we could do it again, we would have switched and let Zach go first. And the reason why that is because every time I got to a machine, I had a fresh whole minute, and the judges were able to reset the monitor without that. It's like a 7-second delay or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would get off at like 55 so that the judges could start resetting while Zach was getting on, because we wanted Zach to have, Zach's going to get more calories per minute than I am. So, we would have done it, flipped it.
Sure.
So that way he was getting the full 60 seconds, and I would have gotten 50 seconds on the.
Why do you think they reset it? Why not just let him roll up?
So some people were getting roll. Kind of depended on your judge, I think. So
it just seems like it'd be easier
just to let it roll and pull the calorie. Yeah. But the machines have a 2-minute reset, but like they could have let it roll through, like I get off
and then
the rower, Zach gets on, and then you pull the calories.
Yeah.
I forgot when we were up there doing setup, I mentioned that.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned like we worked it out several different ways, and I forgot why Gil and Nick said they wanted no rollovers. I forgot what the reasoning was. Yeah. They had a reasoning behind it that they wanted it to be reset between every person.
Yeah. But like afterwards, I don't know, like there's obviously you and I used to program stuff, so there's like reasons why behind everything. But and sometimes you don't understand it unless you're the one programming it.
Sure.
But after doing it, like Jenay said, I think it would have made probably a little bit more sense just to let it roll for that round and then pull the calorie off of that, because then you're doing less math too.
Right.
Instead of 27, it would be 54 calories.
There's no room for error with your judge doing the reset thing too, because it's athlete judges that are doing it.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, like, you're taking out the possibility that process is.
And if you've never operated an erg before, like all three of us would be able to hit menu. Just row or just ride or row, whatever it is. And if you've never done it, you'll start going like menu, row, and then you're
it's
trying not to cuss this time. And then you are not in a great position because you have to wait for the computer. But that unfortunately, this stage started with a little bit of controversy, but for the pistol, you had to be in contact with the red furring stick before you drew your pistol, and then the entire time you had your pistol, you had to be standing on the red pistol stick. And my judge did a great job. Like I'm absolutely not mad at him at all for saying something, but from being from action shooting, I'm used to like scooting my foot up to the stick and then making contact with it. Because in like USPSA and 3-gun, if you stand on top of it and you roll your foot a little bit and touch the ground on the other side, everything that you're doing doesn't count.
Right.
You're out of bounds at that point. So I've just gotten used to like scooting up to the stick. And I scoot my foot up to the stick. I was in contact with the stick. My judge started yelling, and I had like the foamies in my ears. So I like and I even got like a stick and like jammed because I had the fastest.
Use a stick to jam it in.
Yeah. Like I had the fastest like reanimating or whatever you like foamies of all time. I couldn't smash them down and get them in there faster than they would pop back out. So I had to like set them in there and then get a stick and like push them in.
Oh my gosh.
What
So
if you could have got them wet and then
I put them in my mouth. I did everything. But so I couldn't hear a dang thing, and I heard people yelling, but I was just like,
sick?
not at me.
Yeah.
I'm being safe. And at the time, I don't think I'd even touched my pistol because the first attempt at this stage, I never shot my pistol. So he was yelling because he wanted me to put my foot on top of it just to be super in line with what they wanted happening. And like the second time I heard a really loud voice behind me yelling, like I scooted my foot back when I turned, and from action shooting, you get really used to like, there's the target, and when you turn, you keep your pistol at the target the whole time.
Right.
So like the way you have to turn like that is you have to kind of go like this, and I scooted my foot back, and then that's when the RO saw me because my guy was yelling and got his attention and stuff, and I wasn't touching the stick at that point. And then they came and gave me a stage DQ. And then when I was sitting there talking to them, I was kind of like, hey, man, there's video of this. Roe saw it. Sean saw it. My judge, after they did it, walked up and was like, whoa, like you were touching. I just wanted you to put your foot on it. I did not want you to get DQ'd for it.
Right.
And so Gil came up. They talked to Gil. And I was like, look, dude, I was like, if you're going to DQ me, everybody on this line's DQ'd. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be the guy that goes and, points out people or whatever, but like everybody was going to get DQ'd. And I think in the first 3 heats, there was 2 people that had already been pulled off the line, and it was like, had done nothing remotely unsafe.
Sure.
And so we did 1 round. I told Nick, I was like, hey, dude, burn that freaking target, fold it up, throw it away. Don't let us see it, because if we're going to get a reshoot on this and we see the target, now we have an advantage.
Right.
Because either we know our hold is good or not good.
Right.
So I did not want to see the target and mess up that. So, because then I wouldn't have felt right about reshooting it. Mm-hmm. So me and Zach, and then Sessions and her partner, Raquel Pennington, ended up. After everybody was done, we ran it, and then Gil talked to the RO and was like, hey, this is what we're looking for. And they relaxed the standard on that. So anyway, that's how that happened. But I am, early on in tactical games, 19 and 20, there wasn't a lot of common sense injected into things.
Sure.
Like it was very unreasonable sometimes. And I am glad that they used good reason and realized nothing unsafe happened here.
Right.
And when nothing unsafe has happened, that's time for correction. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, bump that foot forward an inch for me. Something like that. Instead of, hey, you took a whole weekend off, probably missed work, did all this other stuff, you're DQ'd now. Right. And you're like, what? I didn't. So like everything I did safe. So anyway, I'm glad that they made the choice that they did. Moved forward, good choice. But kind of over the weekend, it would be nice if that's going to be the standard, every stage make that the standard. So You're not like, what are we doing on this stage? What are we doing on the next stage? But yeah, that was probably my favorite stage of the weekend. You could decide if you were really going to put out on the machines and just try and hang on for the shooting. There was a lot of strategy involved. I really liked that one. And then the other reason why I like stages like that is because oftentimes overall score, never look at overall score, because like elite is not doing what tactical is doing, tactical is not doing what master's doing, master's not doing what other people are doing. Mm-hmm. But on stages like that, you can look, because we all did the exact same thing on that stage.
Yeah.
So I do like stages like that every now and then, to where like everybody can kind of look, because maybe somebody in tactical is like, wait, I kept up with everybody. Mm-hmm. Like maybe elite's for me now.
Right.
Or vice versa. Maybe you thought you were ready and you're looking at it and you're like, oh boy, like I did not think that Zach can do 34 calories on round 1 on the bike. So
we also shot paper instead of
And that was a big, that was like, we talked about it in the other podcast about how you're kind of at the mercy of your, the person that's on glass watching your steel on the long range steel. And, you know, calling hits isn't very easy if you've never done it before. And they made a correction and we're shooting at pistol, which makes me I feel great about it.
Paper,
yeah.
Yeah, we were shooting paper.
Shooting paper with rifle. I feel great about it because now I know, especially at 370, your hits are going to be spread out. Like, you're not trying to see if there's doubles.
You got to know your data too.
Yeah, you got to know because with steel, you can hear the report. With paper, there is nothing.
Right.
And so you really have to trust all your data, and it's a true test of long range shooting. You can't just like start guessing.
Right.
And then find like, oh, if I aim at this rock on the berm, I hit the target type thing. So I really like that they made that adjustment. But from a match directing perspective, you got to have a side-by-side or whatever to run down there and pull targets and stuff. And that really does, and it sucks for one person because they're going to have to go down there and back every time. So,
yeah.
But that was that stage.
Yeah.
We did really well on the pistol shooting as well. So yeah, that was.
That sounds like a fun one.
Yeah.
I would like to done that.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah. I guess I could.
Earlier. Then we got the pleasure of 30 minutes later going on the next stage, which was the run ruck. And the way that one worked, it was a relay. So Zach ran first. He ran a mile. He comes back. He hands off the ruck to me. I run a mile. And what our total time is our score. So that one was very straightforward. And it is nice. You and I talked a lot, and you and I talked a lot. Like, if you're a good runner, the good runners still had the same separation on us, even if we would have run like 5 miles.
Right.
And running 5 miles, like, you've been completely met. You're one of, if not the best female runner.
I'll give Katie Knight. I think she could outrun me there.
So, like, top 2, 3
Yeah.
female runners. And, like, I've heard you come off the runs and just be like, I want it, but at what cost?
Yeah.
You know? And then if you're bad at running, it's just like an hour of torture.
Right.
And the mile, I think we came up with like 2 miles or...
Yeah, after 2 miles, between 2 and like 10, the percentage is roughly going to be the same.
If you're
20% behind, but at 2 miles, you're going to be 20% behind at 10 miles.
If Jenay's 20 points ahead of me on a 2 mile run, she's going to be 20 points ahead of me on a 10 mile run. So, and then the heat, dehydration, all that other stuff. You're not risking putting people in weird situations later in the day. So
you guys ran that on the road, right?
Yeah.
What was it like? I mean,
because last year we all ran it in the little trails.
I mean, I don't think you would call it. I did blitzing it, but
okay.
Like, I ran on the road. Yeah, I didn't walk.
It was an out and back, so you could see where people were at.
Yeah. When me and Zach went, there was nobody else running. It was just me and Zach because we had just gotten off that Erg Stage, and like 200 meters into the run, I knew I was toast. Like, it went uphill and then downhill and then back up a little bit, and then on the way back, you went a little bit downhill and then up the hill that you ran. Yeah. And going up that hill, my legs were just like, you have no pop, no jump in your legs. Like, they were dead in the first 200 meters. Like, I had not cleared out the lactic acid from the Erg Stage, but we weren't going to do great on that stage anyway, so it is what it is. Stage 3, I have stage 3 written down, and I don't know what it was.
Stage 3 was...
That was the sandbag stage, sandbag over
stage.
yoke. Because then stage 4 was the zigzag aggregate. Razzle Dazzle.
Sandbag, and then...
I knew it had some Z's in it.
Aggregate.
Yeah.
Okay. Sandbag stage. Sandbag stage, I liked the format of the stage really well. So the way that it went was there was a box. How tall is the box?
I think it was like a 42 or 48.
Yeah,
right?
I think it might be 48. It's kind of tall.
It has multiple sides to it, so it depends on what side it was flipped on.
It's like a scaled up version of a CrossFit plyo box.
Yeah.
Plyo box. I don't know that it's specific to CrossFit. But so while your partner is shooting, you could do burpees as they missed. So like the judge would hold up their finger and you knew you had to do a burpee or whatever. And then for me and Zach, we were done with the burpees every time before the show clear. So like whoever was doing the burpees was standing at the bag waiting for you to like put your hands up and say clear so you could pick up the bag. Then we picked up the bag. It was 6 reps, so 3 each, if that's how you decided to split it up, or 6 one person.
200 pounds.
200-pound bag. And we'll go through. So, and then after you get the 6 reps, then somebody else can go to the line and shoot while the other person drops back to do burpees if they need to do burpees for you missing. And then once you're done, you touch the yoke. Time, you're finished. I feel like it would have been an improvement on the stage. All of this is in hindsight. Always keep in mind that Jake and I have epically screwed up stages in the past, and we're not immune from this, so we're not dragging anybody through anything. This is just in hindsight, right? So in hindsight, I think that maybe the rep should have been like 12, something like that, towards like 6 each, because 3 is not a, like, thinking back on it, we probably should have done like 2 and 4.
Right.
And then the next time flip it 2 and 4, something like that, or just one person does all 6. Because like honestly, transitioning to the other person took longer than if one person just stayed on the bag the whole time. And for me and Zach, 6 reps at 200 pounds is, even if you had to just do 10 burpees, like you can always do 6 reps on the 200-pound bag. So the either bump it to like 250 and then go to 6 reps, or 10 or 12 reps at the 200-pound bag would have been that would have made the stage different. And then also possibly holding both shooters at the line, and then after you have missed your misses, then go do the burpees.
Your penalties.
And it's like, you shoot and both people are at the line until you're done shooting. Then you have to go do the penalty burpees. Once you've completed the penalty burpees, you can go do the bag over. Or, I'm just thinking of this now, but it might have been cool if, like, when you were done shooting, you were released to go do the work and you had to do your 6 bag overs and whatever burpee penalties it was, and you could split up that work however you wanted. So if one person wanted to do all the burpees and the other person wanted to do all the bags, fine. That'd have been pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Because then you're physically penalizing. Like, somebody's going to have to do a lot more reps on the bag. And if you had like 10 reps at 200.
While the other person has to do burpees, it would be a lot.
Yeah. That would start, because I think it was 3 rounds. So like that would have started wearing down. 30 reps at 200 is going to make anybody stand up and take a breath and pick up like that. So you would have had to figure out how that, but then the shooting would have actually been a penalty. Like, Zach and I got absolutely throttled on that stage, and it's because we didn't pick up on it till too late in the stage, that it's just like, just burn down and take the burpees, because you might miss 5 times. Just do the 5 burpees. So we should have just absolutely ripped it at the target instead of trying not to miss.
Right.
Which, like, Brandon, his partner, I think they were shooting pretty good, but they were burning it down. They were not afraid to miss. And then it looked like Kyle and Jose, they were shooting good as well, but like they were shooting at probably 2 or 3 times the cadence that we were. We just had like the old school mentality of like, you don't want the 10 seconds.
Right.
So,
right.
How come, do we ever shoot like 10 people at the line at a time? So like having partner 1 and partner 2, say Zach shoots rifle, you shoot pistol, and then swap.
Yeah. We've done that before. Yeah.
And we did on,
it just depends on the size of the firing line.
Yeah. We did that on the last, or not, it wasn't our last stage, our second to last stage. Me and Zach both shot pistol at the same time. and then
That's
you
right,
took
with
turns
the
on
bag
rifle.
over the thing.
Yeah. So
Because that could have spiced things up a little too if you all had to do
both
that.
people shooting. It would have
So
been,
there's not rest.
that would have gotten pretty hard on steel to keep track of misses.
Yeah.
For steel, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean
for paper. Yeah.
if you were shooting paper, but just thinking through ideas.
Yep. Then next stage, aggregate.
Razzle Dazzle.
Right, it was the Razzle Dazzle, which is a play on what is the
It's the T-Rex arms, the scrambler.
Scrambler. So it's like a modified scrambler. So I ran it first. You start in the back left, shoot 2 to the head with your rifle at like 20, 25 yards. I don't know.
I think it's 20 yards, yeah.
Call it 20 yards. We'll call it 25 because I missed one. You shoot 2 to the head in the back left box if you're right-handed. It's the best way to go about it. Then reload in between the boxes. Shoot 2 to the head between the two back boxes. Reload 2 to the head box from the back right with your rifle. Then you clear your rifle. Tina yells, "Clear!" really loud, and then throw it to the back. And like, it was funny because she's pretty short, so she wanted to see your bolt back, and she would jump up and look into your chamber to make sure chamber was clear. And then she would yell "clear," and you'd throw it. And then on the way to the front left box, so now you're crossing diagonally back to the left side of the range or bay, and draw your pistol and your magazine. And we started unloaded with we started hot with rifle, but unloaded with pistol. Draw mag and pistol, load going into the left box, then to the torso, reload between the boxes to the torso, and then reload for your final to the torso. And I was the first shooter, so then I showed clear, holster, hands up, grab Zach's magazine out of my plate carrier, run it back to him, hand him his first rifle magazine, then he could load his rifle and then repeat what I had done. So it's like passing a baton, so that way they knew you weren't going to start early. Stage went good. It didn't go from great for me and Zach, but it was a good stage is what I'm trying to say. So my gas wasn't turned up enough, so I was not going to bolt lock. And then I didn't go to bolt lock the first time, and then I went to bolt lock, but I had already abandoned the dropping the bolt. So like I did the unlock the charging handle and slam yourself in the face thing. I did that twice. So gonna add some gas to my rifle, and it was
Re-zero.
yeah. The thing is I've been shooting with the suppressor, and I have lost a tremendous amount of hearing, so I'm trying to salvage whatever I have left and shoot a suppressor now, even though it's probably not ideal in some circumstances. But gun's running a lot dirtier than normal, and I just wasn't thinking about it, and it was super dry, so stopped running right. That was day one for us. We did really well on we did really well on the first stage. Did average on the second 3. So
What were you guys sitting in after day one? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I mean, historically, I'm never doing great after day one, so I don't really care. I could be in last place; it doesn't mean anything. I want to say we were in like
I think we're in third
or fourth, something like that. But yeah, for us, the Sandbag stage that should have been our stick it to everybody stage, we ended up doing worse on that stage than we did on any other stage all weekend. So we did worse than we did on the ruck run.
Hey,
so, yeah,
it's improvement on the running.
Yeah. So anyway, that was day one. Then showed up for day 2, and we started on the ice chest stage. So did you test the ice chest stage? No, I just want to see what short people thought about it.
From what I heard from the short people, it was much better on day 2 when they cut the handle. But on day 1, the handle on the YETI coolers got so stretched out. This is just what I was hearing when people would come to our stage. That short people were having a very hard time keeping it off the ground. Some had noted that they were putting it in the crease of their elbow. People tried to twist the handle to make it shorter, but then when you begin carrying it, I guess it would put some weird torque on things and like contort your wrist angle, and people just said it was all around a really hard time. And then day 2, y'all, like the elite crew was going to do that first. So I think someone, RO or staff, had shortened the ropes for day 2 to fix that problem. So I think it was better from there.
Me and Zach are both tall, so
yeah,
it wasn't going to be an issue for me or us. But whoever tied our handles tied them really short, and me and Zach had the great idea that we were going to hold them like all the rich ladies put the purse in the crease of their arm. Jenay would know about that. But we probably saved ourselves a lot of trouble.
I've never seen her carry a purse. No. Like not one time ever.
You know what? I don't know if I've ever seen Jenay. Do you even have them?
I've owned some in my life, but
I think she's got some fanny packs. She's got a couple fanny packs.
I'm a fanny pack gal.
She's like the 1980s WWE.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
She's got one that's that bright for sure.
That's funny. So yeah, I will say, going into the stage, we picked up that cooler, and me and Zach were like, "Damn, this is heavy. This is gonna suck." Then, like normal, the stage starts. You pick it up, feels like a feather, and you take off. And me and Zach sprinted that stage. In fact, I'm sure people thought I was a psycho. So Zach had hearing protection that was touching his brain all the way in. So for me to get any message to Zach, I had to be on 10 for him to hear me. But Zach was pumped, ready to go. We picked it up, we're running, and then we take a right turn, and I'm on the outside, right? So I'm like, Zach, slow down! Because, like, he had gotten ahead of me. And because, like, basically you would get to that corner, and a person on the inside basically just stops and waits for the person on the outside to run around. Because those coolers are wide. Like, I don't know how wide they are, but they're huge.
It looks like a refrigerator.
They're a 150, so they're massive.
Yeah, 5 feet wide.
Yeah, at least.
Maybe more. I don't know.
They're about 5 feet wide, yeah.
For sure.
Maybe your body, I wouldn't fit in there.
I would.
But,
she would fit in there. Yeah.
I mean, I guess fold Jake up and get rid anyway, super wide. So our handles were like real short. So there's no way we could have gotten our arm through there anyway. But so we ran around, put it down, shot, ran around, put it down, shot. And we did stop once on the last round at the very last turn. We set it down and it hit the ground. And I was like, pick it back up. Like, let's go. And it's like, we can rest when we're dead. Like, let's go. But then we ran to the rest. You know, we probably paused for 2 seconds.
Right.
I think Zach had to carry on his left hand twice, and I only carried on my left hand once. So, got done with that stage. I liked the stage. I thought it was good. I mean, it let the strong people absolutely sprint, and then there was definitely people that were having to put it down. And then from our last podcast, if you listen to it, we talked about the wheelbarrow, how it was a 6-minute penalty no matter what. Like, you could be an inch from finishing, 6-minute penalty, or you could have just started, 6-minute penalty. They changed it, and like, to their credit, they changed it. And there was, I think you said it was on the podcast that got deleted. Instead of just having one halfway point, you had said, like, hey, that's halfway for this lane.
For lane 3.
Yeah, but not halfway for all the lanes. So they went through the trouble to put like 5 halfway sticks.
Yeah, Palacios went and put 5 halfway. They literally measured it to a T.
Yeah. So we had so you would, if you didn't finish the stage but you made it over halfway, you would get partial credit for carrying the cooler.
Every lane had their own little thing. So
they made a good adjustment there, and you were going to get credit if you did the work. So I thought that was very good of them. Other than that was that stage. I mean, the rifle was on a barricade at like 40 yards, maybe something like that. And then pistol is right hand shooting and left hand shooting. Left hand shooting was difficult when you carry it on your left side, or at least for me when or maybe it was the third round with my right hand. I can't remember.
How did they dictate what hand you were going to shoot with?
You had to alternate. So it was like strong hand, weak hand, strong hand.
So you could pick with Zach, like if Zach carried the cooler in his left hand, he could shoot his right hand at the line.
I think you had to go strong, weak, strong.
Okay.
Regardless.
Got it.
I definitely got the huge shakes on that one. Like the ones where it's like you can't keep the dot on paper.
So between the ROs, they were saying that was the hardest stage to test, and that I think it was Brad or Travis Cole was saying how his hands felt all like cramped up when they got done with it. There was no like dexterity left in their hands. It was extremely like hard on your hands.
Yeah, because I forgot to mention, in your offhand, you had the YETI 5-gallon bucket that had 50 pounds in it.
Right.
So one hand you had the cooler, the other hand you had the 50-pound bucket, 5-gallon bucket. So other than that, pretty good stage. I like that kind of stage because it's like accessible to everybody, and it's one of those things that kind of like old school tactical game stages where it's like it's a choice if you're going to put it down or not, because like you can always hang on to something if you really want to.
Right.
And so I like that because it's not something where you just walk up to a 300-pound bag and you're like, well, I can't pick that up, so I guess I'm going to chill here for the next 5 minutes. Right. It's accessible to everybody, and it's just like, are you going to hang on to it or not? Kind of like the wheelbarrow stage, you know. And Jenay would argue that you can't just hang on to it, but
I could pick it back up, but I definitely could not just hang on to it.
So yeah, I liked the stage. It was good. It had a pinch point. Didn't love that. I wish that there was some kind of standard on how you had to rest. You know, like
to move the cooler out of the way or something.
Yeah, you had to instead of just setting it down wide and trapping everybody behind you, you had to like make it skinny
and move it up against the concrete or something.
Yeah, and then just have like a flat penalty. If you set it down wide, this is the penalty that you have for it. Sure. But they wanted to do the stage, and you know that at some point, sometimes it's just like what you have to work with. And
I thought it was a cool idea to get the coolers out there and do something a little different than carry axle bars or whatever around. I thought that was pretty neat.
Good product placement.
We were making jokes that you and Zach were going to be like the dads carrying the cooler out to the beach.
That's what I thought the whole time. I was like, we're going to crush this because like we've been doing this.
I was like, this is the dad stuff here. They're going to smash this.
Your wife and kids run off and are sitting in the air conditioning in the hotel, and you're dragging everything through sand on the way back. Been there, done that several times. Or you're on like your 8th trip. And, you know, they ain't coming back to help. So, that was cool. 2-gun stage, ROs, horrible. But yeah, I'll let y'all talk about this one because y'all watched it all weekend. So,
all right, cool. All right. 2-gun stage?
Yeah, it's on you.
On me. All right, so Jenay and I were the ROs of the 2-gun stage. It was set up kind of like a jungle run. You started kind of like a jungle run, no, you would say that's called, yeah. So the setup was both athletes started unloaded, both rifle and pistol started unloaded. Athlete 1 had a target array on the right, and athlete 2 had a target array on the left for pistol target arrays, and then they both shot rifle together off of a barricade at the back. So we made them start 1 foot on top of the red starting stick, just like they were doing everywhere else. Then on the beep, athlete 1 drew, made ready as they crossed into the shooting area, and then they shot the right pistol array, which had 5 paper targets, 3 static poppers, and then 1 drop mag pistol plate that you would shoot at. The paper was worth 2.5 seconds if you didn't neutralize it, 5 seconds if you missed it. The no shoots were 5 seconds. Pistol poppers, if you missed those, were 5 seconds, and then the drop plate was 10. Once they cleared the pistol on the first athlete cleared the pistol on the popper, then the second athlete, they had to holster. And then once they holstered, the second athlete could go forward, and then they shot their array. There was a Texas Star to start, and then they had 4 paper and 3 poppers, and then 1 drop mag pistol plate as well. And then there was 6 rifle targets ranging from 70 to 240. So from left to right was like 154, 187, 206, 240, 160, and then 70. And the close four were, would they say they were 8-inch gongs, 8-inch circles, and then the back two at 206 and 240 were 10-inch. So pretty sporty targets for rifle, especially when you had two people working off the barricade at the same time. That was fun. But yeah, we had a great time. We ran about 130 teams through that.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely a fun stage. We got to run it just for fun in between when we had to go squad as individuals, and we thought it was a really fun stage. I think everyone else seemed to have a good time with it. I think we only had 2 stage DQs, and that was from the clearing procedure, them not holstering beforehand. So a takeaway is not rushing the clearing procedure aspect of things. Maybe consider rushing or having urgency rather in the shooting portion of it. But when it comes down to a clearing procedure in a 2-gun stage, not the time to rush through that.
Have you ever won a championship because of the speed that you cleared your pistols?
No. Exactly. And yes, and Jared has definitely iterated this before. I think on here too.
Sure.
I know we've talked about it several times.
Yeah.
Like the best shooters that we watch don't really rush that process too fast,
Right.
They make sure that they own that.
It's like you move through it efficiently and with purpose, but also you're hitting all of, like, lack of a better term, like points of performance, so that you don't make anybody nervous.
With clarity
Yeah.
and distinction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
For sure. So I think the stage DQs we had were shooter 1 shot their pistol, and shooter 2 was supposed to be staying right behind their shoulder, waiting to pass in front of them until shooter 1 had completely holstered their pistol. The clearing plate was a little confusing for people. So when we do have a drop mag clearing plate, just for clarity, like we dropped the magazine, and so you have one in the chamber, you pull the trigger and hit the target, hopefully. And now we know that the gun is mechanically cleared. So you immediately holster it. And we had some people that out of second nature were hitting the shot, and then they would clear it again before pulling the trigger and then holstering it. And their partner was under the assumption that after they hit that plate, they were going to holster it and immediately go. So like that lag time confused their partner, and then they were also having a little too much urgency and rushed in front of them before they were holstered. So that was our mishaps on that stage. And then I think also people really struggled with the long range rifle communicating with one another. Hitting it in general, I would say sometimes too.
Yeah, sometimes.
But the communication between partners, like you have someone there that can help you out with like, hey, try aiming lower, try aiming higher.
I think the two biggest things since I was with them on rifle that I took away from it was one partner would influence the barricade over the other partner. So the other partner would be locked on a target, and they would try to get set on a different target, and it would throw them off. And you'd hear, hey man, stop moving.
Yeah.
That was one. And 2 is like communication, but knowing where your targets are located was a big one, because people would tell me, oh, I'm going to the far left, and I'd go to the far left, but I would keep the one to the right of that in the right side of my binos, and then you'd see 4 or 5 shots, and I see nothing on the far left, but I see dust on the one on the right, and I'm like, hey, that's not the far left. The one you're shooting at is not the one I'm looking at. And then if partners got confused at that point, because one of them was on the far left and the other one was over, it was just watching them try to pinpoint what target they were on with each other was fun. That was a game in itself.
Yeah, maybe have a plan with some landmarks in mind.
Yeah.
One thing, because I did the long range stage last year. It was a 2-gun stage, but it had a long range aspect to it in whatever the Brownells, Iowa, and Gil. I think Gil won the stage overall. He won that stage overall, and all the divisions did the same shooting on that. And Gil, who's probably the best shooter that's there for sure, picked a simple, for me, being the spotter, a simple way for me to flow through and call hits. And, there was a faster way to do it, but you'll see the fastest and most experienced shooters do it in a way that the RO is going to be able to flow through the stage too, because the last thing you want is a lost RO. So if the fastest and best shooters are doing it a simple way, don't complicate it.
Right.
Same thing as clearing procedure, like do it cleanly. Like, I'm going to shoot this right to left,
right,
or left to right. You might have to do a little bit more thinking, maybe, because it's like going from a far target to a close target, back to a far target, something like that. But keep it simple. Keep the flow simple so that the RO doesn't get lost on it.
I will say, I do appreciate for everybody that was at YO Ranch. Thank you guys for pasting. We were never behind one bit. It was just Jenay and I. So I ran the shooters through, and she would score it, and then would walk through with the athletes and paste it as they went. So appreciate that, and good job, Jenay, on keeping
Jenay was being a militant, but
But we were on time.
But we were on time,
And you will have fun.
Yeah, yeah. She was pretty nice to everybody back there. But
to be honest, me and Zach finished the stage, and after doing swimmingly well on the long range, I did my mad walk back to my car to give myself 5 minutes from not being around anybody. And Lauren Clue, I'm sorry, I forgot that you were videoing the stage. And she was like, "Man, you shot the spinner really fast." And then I loaded up a firework of a thing, and then I remembered that she was doing her little recording thing, and I was just trying not to be pissed, but I was pissed when she was talking to me. So sorry, Lauren. I think I recovered it there at the end, but just delete that first 5 or 10 seconds. But then we got back to the car, and I looked at Zach, and I was like, "Oh crap, we're gonna get DQ'd if we don't go back there and paste." And so anyway, we put down our guns and everything, and went back over there and pasted for 2 groups or whatever, and then
Jenay was marking down every athlete that walked off. She was
Totally.
like, "Oh, here they go."
I 100% was, yeah.
So, but yeah, I remembered I was not in the frame of mind to paste immediately after I was done.
So how'd Gel Stage go?
Yeah.
How'd Gel's 2-gun stage go?
Zach did his portion really well on pistol. Showed clear. The stage brief was really good. You told us to stand behind you, the second shooter, and you were like, "I will get out of the way when you can go. Don't get in front of me." And so I just stayed right behind you. And as soon as you took a quick step to the left, I knew I was good to go. Because even if I wasn't, you said, "If you get out of the way, I can go."
Yep.
So
that was true.
You got out of the way, I went. And I shot the spinner the gangster way on accident. I did not mean to do that going into it. It was just, I've been divorced from action shooting for a long time now, but old habits die hard.
Yeah.
And I shot at the top middle, top right, bottom right, and then those last 2 plates just zip in there. And if you don't hit them, you are screwed. And luckily I connected on them. So, then the one thing that I did different on the pistol there is, I shot the clearing plate from pretty far back. The reason why I did that was because I dropped the mag, aimed, shot at it from probably 20 yards further back than most people.
Yeah, at least. You took a very long shot.
It was probably a 50-yard shot.
Yeah, it was about a 50-yard shot.
But my thing about it was, I'm going to drop this mag anyway, down there. So I'm going to drop the mag from back here, take a shot at it, and if I connect, I just bought myself a stop start. So a stopping into a position, hard aim, pull the trigger, then show clear. So I could get rid of one stop and then another start. So if I were to miss that, I had 2 extra mags, and I was going to reload into a mag running to the place where everybody else shot the stop plate.
Right,
and,
at the stick.
Yeah, and then just shoot it from this, reload, put a new mag in, drop the slide on it, dump the mag again, take the shot from where everybody else did. And then I had an extra mag in case I missed that shot too. But if I missed all 3 of them, I was just going to leave it. but I connected on that, so we got to skip the last stop or whatever, and then we got on rifle. The plan was, which I deviated from the plan with Zach, but because when I was on my scope, that first plate was in the middle of the reticle, and I just pulled the trigger, and so I got the hit. Then Zach got the hit. We went to the next plate. I got the hit. I think I got on the first shot. Then Zach shot a couple at it.
Yeah, he got on his third hit.
Yeah. Then he got that one. I went to the next one. Missed it 2 or 3 times. Then I got it. I think I was shooting high on it. I can't remember. And then my fatal error. No, was it that one?
Not that target.
Not that one. Then I went to the next one.
Zach hit it, and then y'all went to the next one. Y'all connected, and then
the error that I made, which you have to know, if you're going to shoot fast, you have to know that you got to give people time. And so I hit the 4th plate and transitioned to the 5th plate, and then I was camping on the 5th plate waiting for hit. And Zach shot. I heard the steel, and then I heard hit and pulled the trigger on 5 and got the hit. You didn't say anything, and I said, "Was that a hit?" And you said, "Yeah," but you were talking about Zach's hit. You didn't notice that I had shot mine.
I didn't see your hit.
And again, I was shooting suppressed, so everybody has ear stuff. It's not super loud. So then Zach shot and hit, but I had already gone to the 6th plate.
Correct.
Then I shot the 6th plate, and you didn't say anything.
Yeah, I told you to come back because Zach had already hit.
And you said hit 1 on Zach, and right when you said hit 1, I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
You didn't see me hit that one. So then I went back, and I hit that one. Then Zach shot the 6th plate right when I shot the 5th plate. Then I went and I shot the 6th plate, and then you said hit 1, and Zach was like, I already hit that. And you're like, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
And so
which I did the same thing on Kyle and Jose. I got crossed up on one of theirs, and they were like, we hit that 2 times, and I'm like, Justin, move it.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
So
but it's on video for both people. So
the only feedback I have on that stage, or constructive criticism, whatever, is either have like shooter A shoots these 3 targets, shooter B shoots these 3 targets. When shooter A is done shooting, shooter B shoots. Or shooter A shoots the array, then shooter B shoots the array.
So that's what we were going to do, is have like one shooter shoot it, then another shooter shoot it. But we didn't know if the second shooter would ever get there. And if they would have to like, all right, I'm conceding, I'm pulling out, you know, like, I don't know. I guess
shooter 1 could always just, stop shooting.
Right.
And let shooter B shoot. It'd be something you have to decide. But then if you did that, as soon as shooter 1 stopped shooting, they would never be able to start shooting again.
Right.
That would just be it for them, and you have to take misses. But anyway, because like last year, me and Zach shot that array absolutely blazing fast. It was a different array, but like we smoked it, and we were shooting on top of each other, not like laying on top of each other, but like boom. And both of our guns went off, and then like both were hitting. And
you talking about those red plates that were up at the top?
Yeah, and we confused the RO there and got really screwed over on that. I mean, it was our fault for shooting it like that, but like there needs to be a way to be able to shoot things really fast and get credit for it.
Sure.
So anyway, because when you're shooting, and we explain this in the deleted podcast, but whenever you're shooting with a partner, shooter A, like the person that hits it first, has the ability to slowly transfer and be camping on the next target, but the RO doesn't have the ability to transition at that same time.
Sure.
Because they're still looking at the target that shooter B is about to shoot, and then they have 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Before shooter A's gun's gonna go off when
Back
shooter
the trigger
B's.
again.
Yeah. So and then it wouldn't work with 2 ROs, so that would just get completely confusing. Because like the RO is in glass, they're not able to like actively see who is shooting at a particular time. So anyway, I think that like shooter A go, shooter B go, or in some fashion, either if it's 6 targets, shooter A shoots these three. Shooter B shoots these three, and shooter B has to wait till shooter A is done, or kind of like y'all did. Like one of them, maybe the further targets is for shooter A, and the closer targets for shooter B. Like whatever. So, yeah, that was a 2-gun stage. It was a really good stage, and kind of like what we talked about last time. And I'm very happy that 2-gun stages where good shooters can get ahead and there's like separation on the stage. I'm very happy that they're implementing those. And then the same thing, like the Texas Star on y'all's stage was like midway down the stage, and then there was still like a minute and a half of shooting after that.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of time to reset that. In the past, those, we call them circus targets, but like the circus targets have maybe been at the end. So there's really no chance to reset until like the shootings are, and that's where you get behind. But I'd be 100% okay with it, even though like it's an advantage I have is those circus targets because I've shot them so many times. But even if they'd have like got rid of those and we just shot the stage without the spinner,
Circus targets,
or the not spinner, the Texas Star, totally fine with it. Good shooters are still going to make, put a gap that they deserve on shooters that aren't as fast.
Plate racks, dueling trees, spinners, all are very easy to.
Yeah, there's no reset.
No reason. I mean, you got to either flip them to one side or pull the tab. But other than that, that's it.
However, when I did do that long range stage, there was a spinner, and everybody except like 5 or 6 guys, and I think 1 or 2 of the girls in the elite timed out on the spinner. So like they were maxing out their 3 minutes every time. So, but it's within reason, and like I know everybody wants to shoot everything, but it wouldn't be bad just to say like we whether it's off cuff or whatever, but like we call them the competitive divisions, right? Like the masters and then the elite division. Those divisions shoot the spinner, and then like tactical and intermediate don't shoot the spinner. So that way you can keep things going on time. And then there's something else that can add an element of difficulty to a 2-gun stage, but you don't have to get behind on it. So good stage though. I really like the stage. I shot a no shoot from like 3 feet, so that was cool.
When Jenay said that,
and there's no freaking arguing either, because I turned around, I was like, yeah, but and they're like, Jenay saw you do it. I was like, damn it.
It was me and Nick there looking at this target, and we're both like, okay, that's a no shoot.
I would have been like, the shooter before me shot it. Y'all didn't paste it.
There was
when you look through it, like
I think it was one of the Poland teams, but there was a team. It may not have been one of the Poland teams. I think it was one of them though. There was a team that on the first or second target for the first shooter on the right, the headshot that a lot of people were having to take, it wasn't pasted, and he transitions to that one. He goes, "It's not pasted," and then he shot it and like drilled 2, like stacked 2, and he goes, hit, and then like it was on. He like called us. It was hilarious, and I was like, "Let's make sure we paste that one next time."
So
I missed it once.
For those that have not been baptized in the 2-gun, 3-gun world, if you're rolling up on a target mid stage and it ain't pasted, guess what that is?
Freebies.
That is like in the NFL when they throw the flag because the defense jumped or whatever, and the quarterback does a Hail Mary every time, just like goes for broke on something. Go for broke.
Yeah.
Because now you can get a reshoot.
Right.
I don't know about tactical games rules, but in normal 3-gun, if everything isn't reset, you're up for a reshoot if you want it. So anyway, if you ever roll past a target, it's got a couple holes in it.
Hammer down.
Yell something out and be like, not pasted, and then hammer down on the rest of it.
I mean, if it was like a hit on paper, it would have been advantageous, but it was a no shoot. So he's like,
from
don't
now
discredit
on,
me.
right? From now on, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run by and be like, that no shoot was already shot.
Yeah. Bang bang.
I didn't even know.
Sir.
Yeah, I didn't even know I shot it, so my bad.
Honestly, I didn't know you did either. I was I was right there walking behind you, but
Gonna be honest.
you were smashing that paper before those poppers. So,
you know, if I'm gonna say it's funny. There's a guy that I've shot with a lot, and early on in my 3-gun days, and he claims that he could do splits and transition targets so fast he could drag bullets over. You know, like in his barrel if he transitioned too fast. You know, because it's in there for like 0.001 second. So he claims to be able to transition targets over. I'm not gonna say his name. People that know me and know that group know who I'm talking about. But he claimed to have been able to do splits and transitions so fast that he could pull a target off or pull a bullet off the target in the barrel because he's going so hard to the next one.
Oh my god.
Which is bullshit. But anyway, next stage, it's a one partner got a 100-pound bag, another partner got an 80-pound bag. You had to put it over 3 bars that were like 3.5, 4 foot high. Then you had to put it over a taller wall that was like 7 foot, maybe a little. No, it was about 7 foot.
about 7 feet.
Yeah. Elite could not use the footholds. Other divisions could. Throw the bag over there. Then on the rifle round, shooter A would shoot, complete shooting, show clear. Then you got your bag, and then everything you just went over, now you have to go under. And the 7 foot tall wall probably had like a 2 foot gap under it. Maybe a little less. Let's call it 2 feet. 2 foot gap underneath it. So you had to like shimmy under that, then grab your bag, and then now you have to go under all of those.
So you didn't have to wait on shooter 2 to finish shooting?
No. So the way me and Zach did it is I took the 80-pound bag because I'm 80% of Zach, so it makes sense. I got the 80-pound bag, and that's what I told him right before he started. I was like, perfect. I'm 80% of you, so I get the smaller bag. But I would drag them all. So I would drag my bag all the way to the stick, put mine on the other side of the stick. Then I would go back under all the bars and then wait for him to throw the bag under the wall to me. Then I'd grab his bag.
When he's done shooting?
When he's done shooting, yeah. Then I'd grab his bag and drag it while he was getting under the wall. And so that worked on the rifle rounds. But then on the pistol rounds, like we were talking about earlier, we shot simultaneously. So he had to take his bag on the pistol rounds. So I took my bag and he took his bag on the pistol rounds. I only almost forgot my mags like twice, which I'm historically kind of bad at remembering mags and guns when I've left them somewhere else on a stage. And
South Carolina was priceless.
Yeah, I put an
forgot it in a stage, forgot it when you were going to shoot a stage.
So
gonna need those.
Forgot it,
man.
Yeah, forgot the rifle in the bag stage, and then forgot the pistol.
When I was trying to win. Not that I'm not trying to win, but like when I was on a mission to win every match, I never forgot anything. T's were crossed, I's were dotted. I had everything I needed all the time. I'm just enjoying it now. So like,
yeah.
So on that stage, there was 2 rifle targets, and one of them was at 150.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it 150, maybe in 130. I don't know. And then the other one was at like 180 something. And so it was 10 rounds of work, but then you shot, I think it was 10, you shot 10 bullets, 10 pieces of ammunition, whatever the correct terms is. We sent 10 bullets downrange. I just don't want to get confused with like rounds and rounds, but because it was a 10 round workout.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we were shooting 10 bullets every time we were at the range, at the line. But it was 5 iterations with rifle and then 5 iterations with pistol, alternating. We did not shoot the last pistol. There were maybe 1 or 2 people that did, but it was like machine gun firing at the end. Everybody ran out of time.
So when we were there to watch some of that stage, why were you waiting on Zach before you shot rifle? You would get all the way over.
You heard, and so did everybody else. No, so on the stage.
Picking on Zach here.
Yeah. So there was a stick like 6 feet away from the wall, closer to the firing line, and the bag and the person's body had to be over the stick.
Because we were extremely impressed from Zach yeeting the 100-pound bag over the wall, over the 7-foot gap, and over the stick from where he stood. But then he would rest, and then Jared would be like, Zach, get over the wall.
Yeah, because I saw him like bent over with his hands on his knees. All I could see was his knees and his hands.
Oh,
and
it was
like,
great.
Oh my God, get over the wall. But yeah, so
but pistol, you didn't have to wait on him.
we were both there pretty much the same time.
Got it.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a shooter A, shooter B thing, and I don't know. I felt like I was getting over the wall really fast.
It felt like you were. I mean, it was very quick, but it felt like you were shooting pistol before Zach.
Yeah, I was just so we were shooting it simultaneously. My cadence was
got it
fast.
Where
enough.
we were, it was hard to see.
Yeah, so my cadence was just fast enough where so I would get to the line before him because I was in front of him,
which is what we saw.
Not in front of him in the workout. It's just like you couldn't go too wide over those things. So like I would get in front of him there because I had the lighter bag, and then I would get to the line 5 or 10 seconds before he did, and then my cadence was a little bit faster, so I was getting back to the back line faster. But then you had to wait on the back line for your partner to get there before you could go again.
Got it.
So but yeah, the body had to be over too, and then I finally, like I mentioned earlier, his ear pro was like touching his brain, so I had to like scream at him to get it. But I think it was like around 6 or 7, he understood.
Well, I think Chance went and told him like, hey,
or he could understand my sign language. He was seeing my mouth move and my face turning red and my hands moving. So anyway, but yeah, once he figured it out, he was jumping over and getting across real quick so I could get going on the rifle. But that was that stage. I don't think we did very good on that stage. I think we got like 83 or 85%, something like that. So that was that stage. I like the stage. I think it was a really good stage. I don't think I would have anything to change on that stage. Chance pulled a pretty good audible because when it switched over to men's elite, that Dahlimer, how do you say it? Dahlimer mat was like a cool 320 degrees. So they let us like move the rifle boxes off onto the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
And we were able to shoot like just to the left of the mat because it was hot. That mat was hot.
Melting.
The group so we had to judge first because we went last on the stage before, and the ladies that we were judging, which were super cool to judge all weekend, they brought a bottle of water with them, and they were like spraying it down before they laid down every time because it was hot. So Zach and I brought a towel, and I put on a long sleeve Whataburger shirt. Some people might recognize that from nationals like 2021, whatever. Yeah, I brought that shirt just because it was hot during that weekend. But I put on that shirt to protect my arms in case we had to lay down on the mat. And because there's nothing worse than just like digging your elbows in and just frying.
Yeah.
So that was that stage. I can't think of anything I would change on that stage, like dissecting it and stuff. I mean, it was just a good stage. You had to work, and it was a lot of work that you had to do. Short people have their part when they can like grab onto the bag and
walk under,
like sprint under, which Jenay can tell us what that feels like. I don't know. And then the taller people just getting over the stuff's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But like getting over a wall is easier for tall people until your hands touch the top of the wall. As soon as your hands touch the top of the wall, the advantage ends, because now people are pulling up their 110-pound, 5-foot body that to get over the wall. But stepping over those 3 things was like we were literally stepping over them. So It was like the redneck way to go over a fence. People that are rednecks will know what I'm talking about. But like you swing one leg over and kind of like get your thigh on it and then they'll like pop over.
Yeah.
So I've already had kids. You can do that now. Last one's aggregate. I think it was, I forgot how tall, 70 inches.
I think for the men it was
Physical
6
floater.
feet.
So 72
inches.
Yeah. 100 pound bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got over it 13 and a half times and Zach got over it 13 times. And you don't get half points, but
You do when you're talking about your bros.
yeah. So I got the half point. I won. But yeah, you just did the little flip thing over the yoke, and then you had 90 seconds to hammer down, and that's what we did. So we both got 13 points on that one, and that was the weekend. But other than that, overall, like partner matches are really hard to program. We've had to program them before. There's a lot of unknowns, and then a lot of it is unpracticed as a programmer because you have a ton of practice on individual stages or individual matches. And even though there's a partner division in the individual matches, it's an individual match that has been modified to where you could do it as a partner. But when you have like a dedicated partner match, it is you're not very well practiced at programming it and stuff like that. And I feel like all things considered, the programming all weekend was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was
so. The heavy stage could have been heavy or more reps or whatever. But then the runners would probably say like we only ran a mile. But like I would say the 200-pound bag 3 times, like yeah, it was a work stage. It wasn't really a heavy stage.
Sure.
So, other than that, I mean, they made a lot of good audibles from the previous match. You know, like you can get mad at somebody if they do the same mistake over and over again, but you can't get mad at them if they're making good changes from event to event. And I feel like they're making good changes from event to event. And scoring worked out well. Arbitration was easy. Stages were straightforward. They covered all of the things they could have covered. I mean, like I said, I'll say it again, heavy stage could have been a little heavier, but other than that, I feel like it was a good stage or a good match overall.
Yeah, good match.
So,
YO is super cool to be at too.
Yeah.
YO Ranch is very unique. There's literally nothing like it that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But if you've never been there, there are a lot of exotic animals. Is it technically like a safari or something?
No.
They just host a lot of...
So if you're not from Texas, the hobby of rich people in Texas is to put a 10 or 12-foot fence around their entire property and buy Africa and bring it over to Texas and stick all the animals on their ranch. And then...
It's the same climate.
Yeah. People drive around and say they're hunting and shoot them. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. I don't love that. But I want the animals that I'm hunting to be able to freely get away if they want to. Sure. But and trust me, I've shot a ton of animals. I'm not a hippie when it comes to that. I just like low fence, free range stuff. But yeah, they have like zebras, and don't they have giraffes out there somewhere?
There's giraffes, there's longhorns. So as you're driving in, I mean, the longhorns are free range for sure.
There's like antelope, oryx.
So free range means they can go wherever they want, whenever they want.
So they technically aren't?
Cows are not free range in Texas. We got fences everywhere.
Oh, yeah, and like the cattle guards?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they are...
They are stuck.
Up close to you.
Yeah.
We'll say that. You drive right next door to them.
They're very tame. Just do not walk up to a longhorn. They will accidentally knock the shit out of you. And they also, historically, don't have the best attitudes. So, yeah, if you're coming to YO for the partner match, or for the sniper match, keep in mind that they are wild animals. They might be tame and used to seeing people and stuff and like not sprinting away the second they see you. They will still, they will fuck you up. Mm-hmm. So don't just walk up to stuff when you see it. Give them a respectful amount of space. and they can close a gap fast. So like, don't be like, oh, I'm 50 yards away for it. That's like 3 seconds,
Right.
if that. Like, before you're gonna know what's happening, that animal's on you. And like 99.9% chance it's not gonna happen. Don't be the 0.01. So give them space. Take pictures from your car, like whatever. But yeah, they have like some kind of weird animal down by the lake, swans,
Capybara.
I don't know.
All sorts of stuff. And then they have lodging on site. It's pretty cool.
Capybara. We have chupacabras in Texas. They're really just mangy coyotes. But tons of stuff to see out there. All kinds of black buck, antelope.
Tons of places to stay
Yeah.
from.
Minimal cell service, which is maybe a pro for some of you.
A couple of years away, not too far away. In the great, it was right next to San Antonio. A gorilla got out of one of those.
What?
Yeah, and people were freaking out because it was like hunting season, and it's like, so the thing about exotic animals in Texas, I wouldn't shoot a gorilla if I saw it, but if an exotic animal gets out of a fence, it is an exotic animal. There is no season for exotic animal. You can shoot them whenever you want. So anyway, gorilla got out, and that happened. So weird animals get out. We have more tigers than Africa here in Texas. So, or we have more lions than Africa in Texas. Or do we have more tigers?
I think it's tigers.
Tiger sounds more right.
I think we have more tigers in captivity in Texas.
Correct. Than there are in the wild.
There are in the wild. Yeah. So
Where?
you drove past a lot.
Yeah, you drove past a lot of them in the Uvalde area.
Yeah. So, and like when you're driving out to YO, don't just like stare at the road and drive. If you see a high game fence on the side, especially near like 30 minutes, 45 minutes before sundown, look into the fields and like you'll see all kinds of crazy animals out there. Like not just on YO, like all the surrounding ranches.
Yeah, all the surrounding ranches were crazy.
But yeah, cool place. Excited to go hurt people's feelings with Jenay at the sniper match.
Let's go.
And I guess we'll be out there in a couple more months. August.
I think it's October.
October.
Whatever.
Yeah, looking forward to it. YO is a fun place.
Yep.
Lots of opportunities to do cool stuff there.
Podcast
Over.
done.
See y'all
Bye.
next time. Bye.
All right.